you can't get a laptop, there are apps you can use to get your ideas out. Just get them out.
All I wanted for Christmas was a MacBook Pro. I just realized that I didn't need what I thought I did.
There's no excuses, kids.
The old saying that you don't need good gear to make good music is much easier to say than to practice. YouTubers like myself and so many others preach that gospel, but I can't deny that there are hints of hypocrisy all over that statement. Even if I make one of my videos with all stock plugins, even if I make one of my videos with only one microphone to record a drum kit, which I did, the reality is terms like budget and affordable are entirely relative things. And in that way, they are kind of meaningless phrases. But I bet most of you have one of these. And that's all that Steve Lacy needed. Drum kit, bass line, guitar, vocals, all of them recorded on a phone. His solo work and his work with the band The Internet not only catapulted him and his band into stardom, but it netted him a ton of production credits too. People like Mac Miller, J. Cole, Blood Orange, Kendrick Lamar. The song Pride, that entire beat was made on a smartphone. So today, we're gonna recreate Dark Red as accurately as possible using only GarageBand, the cheapest equipment I can possibly find. We're going to analyze his production techniques and his recording methods. We're going to record vocals into a smartphone, and we're going to see how close we can get.
I got my hands on an iPhone. No, it was an iPod 5th generation touch. From there, I started to explore music apps like IMPC, Beatmaker 2, GarageBand, and all that sort. That's my lead line right there.
I don't know what, but I feel it coming.
iPhone recorded. But yeah, I just realized that I didn't need what I thought I did. And that's what I like to call the bare maximum.
So during this TED Talk, Steve Lacy kind of introduces this topic of the bare maximum. Now, contrary to the normal way of thinking about like musical minimalism, i.e. record as little tracks as possible, to me, I took Steve's words as the maximum amount of orchestration that you can make with the minimum amount of tools. You'll see that in how he approaches Dark Red. Check out that screen there and let's see what we can find. First and foremost, look how many vocal layers he has in these choruses.
And then I go ham.
You got vocal stacking, you got vocal doubles, you got vocal harmonies, you got different timbres, you got a full chest voice, you got falsetto. These are pivotal in kind of fleshing out the sound of the iPhone microphone. And on that note, let's listen to that isolated vocal really quick.
That's my lead line right there.
I don't know what, but I feel it coming.
iPhone recorded.
Hear that hiss? iPhones are not known for their warm, smooth, quiet sound. They are very fizzy, but that doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. There's kind of a certain nostalgia that we have for a smartphone mic. Its tone kind of reminds us of like home recordings of days gone by. It's like memories that we've stowed away in our little digital locker that we can look back on later and cry. As producers, we can take advantage of that nostalgia by recording into that same microphone. And check out that drum loop too. That drum loop looks like it might be an audio track. I do know that Steve is known for using the drums on GarageBand, but I also know that he can sometimes sample sounds from other songs. So whenever it came time to do the drums, the very first thing I had to do was work my way through GarageBand's interface. For those who don't know, it's kind of this like smart drummer thing where you can move this knob around from like simple to complex and loud and quiet. So I just took that knob and I moved it around until I found a kind of similar beat to the Dark Red beat. But then I had to find the actual drum sound. So I had to load in every single drum kit and every single drummer until I found kind of a similar tone. This took a long time. And unless you're like trying to get that exact drum beat, I don't really know how much it pertains to you. But for those curious, it ended up being the Portland kit with Kyle as the drummer. So thanks, Kyle. Now, if you recall, the drum loop in Steve's file was an audio file. It wasn't this smart drummer thing. So I think he edited a drum loop. So first thing I did was take it out of GarageBand. I added a different ride cymbal, took a bunch of EQ settings to it to kind of craft it into a nicer, more similar tone. And I also noticed significantly more reverb on the snare than on the rest of the kit. I decided to get a little bit weird here. I wanted to capture my living room reverb rather than like a digital preset. So I played the snare sample through my Bluetooth speaker, then used my voice notes app to capture the sound of the space. I'm gonna play the finished loop with and without the reverb so you can see how this affected the sound. I really like the sound. I would say it's probably a little bit trashier than what Steve had, but I kind of like that it's my living room and that the sound that you're hearing is the space that it was created in. But I noticed something else in that drum loop. There's this kind of slightly mechanical riser sound that seems to be looping underneath everything. So I'll try and point it out in a graphic. These are the kind of things that I think are glossed over. The things that give these more mechanical drum loops a sense of character are organic samples that are kind of buried underneath it. I think I found something in my apartment that could emulate this. Let's hear how we got from the original drum loop and then how we mixed it and added all of these different things and ended up with the mixed final drum sound. Now, Steve uses a piece of hardware called iRig. This is a really simple preamp that just hooks up your guitar or your bass straight into your phone and then into GarageBand. Now, we're going to use this. Don't blame me, blame Apple, because my input jack has been broken for the better part of a year. But this interface actually costs less than the iRig does. It's pretty plastic. And then we'll use the free version of GarageBand on my desktop. When it's time for vocals, we'll send that file back over to my phone and record with the iPhone mic. Now, Steve used to describe some of his early solo work as plaid.
Plaid is my genre. I was thrift shopping and scruffling through the shirts. I'm like, this kind of looks like how my music sounds.
And that ties in pretty well with this notion of the bare maximum. It kind of goes like this.
In plaid, that's, you know, it's a lot going on. All goes together to be one, like, I don't know, pattern, you know?
Let me put it this way. There is music out there that's kind of like those old Supreme shirts. Bare minimal production to draw your focus more towards a single focal point. Think of like a really soft piano ballad, and the piano is just playing some really soft, understated chords, but there is one vocalist in the limelight. Or like in hip hop, maybe like a really minimal type of beat with a singular flow on top of it. This type of production draws your focus to whatever is the shiniest, usually the vocalist. Compare this to a song like Curse from the internet. It's composed of several different instruments, several different percussion parts, several different vocal parts, several different vocalists, and they all kind of interstitch to create one big composition that doesn't really prioritize any of those one elements. It's this multiplicity of smaller parts that creates one bigger whole. Now, while we're here, let's take another quick peek at that screen. We already know that he likes those Vox guitar emulations, but looks like we also have a few guitar pedal emulations on top of it. Looks like that's the Blues Echo, which is another standard thing for GarageBand, the Vibe vibrato pedal, and I know for a fact that Steve likes to use heavy chorusing on his electric guitar parts. So it's safe to assume the retro chorus pedal is probably also somewhere in at least some of these guitar chains. Now, young Lacy is often caught using that black Rickenbacker. That's got a single coil pickup in it, but they're kind of known for being fatter and beefier and more mid-range focused than your average single coil on like a Strat. This is a Strat. This is a stupid way to hold a guitar. Now, as we know, the bass and the guitar are just kind of like plug in and play. DI sounds. There really isn't too much to talk about besides these settings that I used for the guitar and the Vox amp emulation, which, by the way, GarageBand amps, shockingly good. I found myself just kind of like jamming for like 20 to 30 minutes without recording anything because they're really convincing, actually. And here's the bass amp and the settings as well. And really quickly, actually one of the hardest parts was the keyboard sound more than the bass and the guitar. Just like the drums, I went through every single synth sound and then blended in the sounds that I thought were the most like it. Primarily the Toy Store lead, I think is what it was called, and then bright synth strings. One more time, what on earth is going on? Because I remember when I used GarageBand, and GarageBand was like 3 amps, like a smart looper. You guys remember that? You remember when you would go into the Apple store and you would open up GarageBand and you would pick a style of drum kit and a guitar and you would hit play and it would kind of like intelligently make like a little loop song? That's what I remember GarageBand as. Whenever I was using GarageBand, I had a USB port on one side and a 1/4-inch cable on the other, and it was terrible. But now GarageBand is kind of like a full-on DAW. Like, it's really good. Look at how many synth sounds there are for free. Anyways, here are the sounds mixed and unmixed. And because the guitars and the bass and the synths are pretty straightforward, I'm just gonna play them all together and you can hear all of them mixed and unmixed simultaneously. Now, if you'd like to see me open up the GarageBand file and show you the exact process that I used to make this song, you can check that out over on Patreon, and that's true for every single project on this channel. There's a mix breakdown for every single video there. That's for $5 a month, and if you want to get the mix stems, that's another $3 a month. And actually, because this is a GarageBand file, I have the unique ability to actually share the entire project file with you. So as a special case, I made that available for every paid patron to download. Also, you can mix this project yourself by downloading the raw tracks in the description down below, totally free. As we know, Steve records vocals on the iPhone mic with a single pop filter just blocking the microphone. But what's more important is to figure out how he uses vocals within the context of his productions. The vocals are by far the most dynamically expressive element in a Steve Lacy song, at least in the early stuff. This is where most of the complexity lies, and he employs a number of kind of complex techniques in order to make the song breathe with just a simple drum loop, funky bass line, and a guitar. One of the most common techniques that he uses, and is used all over lo-fi vocal production, is vocal stacking, where you layer on top the same take multiple different times. Now, this accomplishes a few different things. First and foremost, it kind of complements imperfection. The iPhone mic in a vacuum is not a very strong choice, but when you layer multiple different parts on top of each other, not only does it kind of blur and blend the differences in each vocal take's timing, and this technique, by the way, is time tested and proven by people like Elliott Smith and Bon Iver, but also this technique builds up harmonic information where the iPhone mic might lack. Check out this chart. This is the sonic characteristic of the iPhone mic. On the left there is the lowest note we can hear in the bass, and on the right there, that's the highest note you can hear in the treble. Notice how the iPhone mic has a steady decline until the bass, where it pretty much just drops off, and also it has a big push in the treble region. These microphones are meant for phone calls and voice clarity, not necessarily for music. They're just gonna pump that treble up as much as they can. We can chop that treble out with an EQ, but we're going to need to layer a bunch of these vocals on top of each other to get the natural kind of presence in the low end that we want.
Don't you give me up, please don't give up on me. I belong with you, and only you, babe. Only you, my girl, only you, babe. Only you, darling, only you, babe. Only you, my girl, only you, babe. Only you, darling, only you. Don't you give me up, please don't give up on me. I belong with you, and only you, babe. Only you, my girl, only you, babe. Only you, darling, only you, babe. Only you, my girl, only you, babe. Only you, darling.
Another key thing about his vocal production is we hear all kinds of different variations in vocal mixes in Dark Red alone. The verse opens up with a vocal that almost sounds bandpassed, where both the treble and the bass information are kind of squashed and we just get mid-range. But the chorus, with the backing vocals that have a falsetto, breathy quality to them, you get a lot more treble information, which gives the kind of illusion of opening up into a larger space, almost like coming outside and breathing air again. And then when exiting the chorus, we go into this like kind of low-passed, dark, echoey vocal. All of this to say that the vocal really is key in a Steve Lacy song. Develop the pocket with the guitar, the bass, and the drums, but all of the kind of like interest and the acrobatic nature is in the kind of interweave and stitch of the vocal.
That's okay.
So this is where I exported the instrumental track, airdropped it to my phone, copy and pasted that from the Files tab in the iPhone, and then just pasted that into a GarageBand for iOS file. That took me a while to do, so I just figured I would outline that. And then I subjected Ethan to the most excruciating workflow that I think he's ever experienced.
What if I want to punch something in? Why are you doing this?
Because we need to show that you can work on anything.
What if... This UI makes me want to myself. Stop. Thank you. This is a fun way to record that I like. Thanks, Steve. What just happened? What is this? This is like a child's mobile that just showed up on my screen. Every time I get a notification, it blocks half of my DAW. Whatever. They're all going to be called lead vocals. I don't care. Really is the hard knock life, huh? Yeah. On me, I belong with you. F you. F you. Honestly, I feel like that's okay.
This man stacked 28 different unique vocal layers on GarageBand for iOS. Go follow him. He deserves it. He will also produce and mix your songs if you'd like to email him as well. You know what are two things that every single producer falls for? I refuse to believe that you are immune to this, because I'm definitely not. Number one, flashy interface design. And number two, too many choices. On the left are all of the effects that I used in GarageBand, and on the right are the equivalent effects that I would be using in Ableton. Multiple different compressors, multiple different distortions, multiple different choruses, and just a ton of really powerful, really great options. But you know what? I really liked working with just these simple little interfaces. It was awesome. If I needed a compressor, I would just grab the plugin called compressor, and I had to hone in on the sound and figure out with my ears whether that ugly ass slider I was moving was actually doing anything. There isn't this like giant glowing orange button with this like weird emulation of a Neve interface with glowing glass tubes in the background that are animating and pulsating. Look at how bad this interface looks. Look at how much this interface doesn't gaslight you. Look, I love me some plugins. Good Hurts, oh my god, Good Hurts is amazing. The LA2A from Universal Audio, but I challenge every single producer that has more plugins than they know what to do with, free or paid. I challenge them to go mix a project in GarageBand. Maybe the raw stems that I have available for you to download right down there. Mix it in GarageBand, because it will humble you and it will truly show where your limitations are. And here are the vocals mixed and unmixed.
Don't you give me up, please don't give up on me. I belong with you, and only you, babe. Only you, my girl, only you, babe. Only you, darling, only you, babe. Only you, my girl, only you, babe. Only you, darling, only you.
So without further ado, here is our recreation of Dark Red by Steve Lacy.
Something bad is about to happen to me. I don't know what, but I feel it coming. Might be so sad, might leave my nose running. I just hope she don't wanna leave me. Don't you give me up, please don't give up on me. I belong with you, only you, babe. Only you, my girl, only you, babe. Only you, darling, only you, babe. Only you, my girl, only you, babe. Only you, darling, only you. Something bad is about to happen to me. Why I feel this way, I don't know, maybe. Think of her so much, it drives me crazy. I just don't want her to leave me. Don't you give me up, please don't give up on me. I belong with you, only you, babe. Only you, my girl, only you, babe. Only you, darling, only you, babe. Only you, my girl, only you, babe. Only you, darling, only you. What if she's fine? It's my mind that's wrong. Not just bad dogs linger for far too long. What if she's fine? It's my mind that's wrong. And not just the bad thoughts linger for far too long. Don't you give me up, please don't give up on me. I belong with you, only you, babe. Only you, my girl, only you, babe. Only you, darling, only you, babe. Only you, my girl, only you, babe. Only you, darling, only you.
All right, friends. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.